Hello and welcome to Jalopy, a game about road tripping through Eastern Europe at sort of mid-1990, basically, June 1990 I believe. It's made by just one person, I think. The developer's called Minsk Works, but I believe it's run by just one guy. And it's really cool, and I have loved it a bunch since starting to play it, so I wanted to take you through just one day of road tripping. I might do a little bit more about it later, but I just wanted to show you the basics of the game first. So, this is our car. It is a Leica. We are going to be looking after it through our road trip. This is not like the kind of driving games that I might normally play, like Grand Theft Auto quotes driving game where cars are just big boxes that move around, but I'll talk to you about why in just a minute. First I want to introduce you to this guy. This is our uncle. Our uncle is going to be going on the road trip with us, and he gives us loads of useful information like where we need to stop off. He teaches you a lot about the car initially as well. You'll see that when we get in the car he'll point out our map book, for instance. But before we get in the car we need to load it up with some stuff, so I'm going to click on the boot to open it. And everything in this game, as you'll see, it's fiddly in the best way possible. So, you know, I need to take a jack with me, and I need to put a spare tyre in the boot. So we'll throw those in here. It's probably good that I take some spare fuel and motor oil and water with us. So we're going to throw all of that in there as well. And in fact, while we're here, why don't we pop open the bonnet, take this water, open the bonnet again, flip the cap on the water canister, pour 0.4 of a litre of water in there to make sure that's topped off nicely, close the bonnet again, put the bottle of water back in the boot. So as you can see, there's just so many small things that you can, I was going to say have to, but you can do. Some of them you kind of have to do just to keep your car running, to keep your car in shape, and we're going to come across some of them on our trip. So the final couple of things I put in here is a toolbox, which is used to increase the durability of engine components as they wear down, and finally a battery. I don't actually know if I'm going to need this, probably not, because my journeys are not very long right now, but I've taken it anyway just in case, because of all of the engine components here, I think it's probably the lightest and most likely to break or need to be replaced. So let's pop the bonnet shut and the boot, and then I think we're ready to start our road trip. I think we can get in the car. So let's sit down. So there's two things we need to do before we get going. Our uncle's just told us about one of them. That is to grab the keys and slot them in the ignition. And oh, I got out of the car by mistake. That was my bad. I'm going to close the door. And then the other thing we need to do is pick a destination. So the game is set through a series of trips between like neighbouring locations. So you can see we're starting out in Berlin and we're going to travel to Dresden. So I think in the full game you'll be able to go through different routes through different countries. They mention Turkey, they mention Hungary and things like that. But at the moment the game starts off in pretty much the same way, and it gives you a lot of alternate routes. So here each route is procedurally generated, so there are different lengths, and they also have different features on them. So this is the shortest route. It's 210 kilometers, but it looks like it's got rain and also no icon indicating like a petrol station. And I really like keeping your car fueled up is really important. So we're actually going to pick Route 1 here, which is like a little bit longer. It's not as long as Route 3, but it has got a petrol station, which is great. So I'm going to click that, which marks that as our route. There's a little pause here because I think the game is actually generating the roads like right now. So we'll see. Yep, okay, that's all done. And now we're ready to get going. So I'm going to turn the keys in the ignition, click on the wheel, which pops the handbrake, and now we can go. So this game is... oh, I should also mention our uncle likes to talk to us. So I'm going to try and give you a chance to read these messages, but I'm not going to like read them out to you. I'm not Markiplier. I don't have a wonderful voice for this kind of thing. So, but he's basically just going to be giving us some information about where we're going, what we're doing. He might point out things like petrol stations so that I don't miss them, which is really useful. So this game is kind of great. And I've been thinking, it's made me think a lot about what I value in games. I've had a number of opportunities to think about this over the last couple of years, especially as I started making a game myself. By the way, he's going to start talking a lot. I'm going to let you read them, but I'm not going to mention them. I'm just going to try and give you enough time to read what's going on. So, I've been making a game. It's called Rogue Process. It's a 2D platformer that is about hacking your way into big cyberpunk corporate skyscrapers. So you can shut down security systems and bust through glass windows and hack into security droids and siphon data out of terminals and stuff like that. So it's an action game. There's lots of items. There's lots of systems to keep track of. There's lots of relationships between different things, and I think one of the things about the game is that it's going to be skill based. There's going to be skill involved. There's going to be things you're going to have to master in the same way that you might master a character in Dota or a particular strategy in Total War. Maybe not at the same level of complexity, but you know. But the other really important thing about Rogue Process for me is that you feel cool while you're playing the game. Like, you feel like a hacker who's breaking into buildings. You feel like a thief. You feel like someone who's trespassing. Because feel in games is really important to me. And by that I don't mean like the feel of the controls or the atmosphere. Like, a game like Proteus is thick with atmosphere, but I don't feel like I am a particular person necessarily when playing that game. Whereas when I play a game like Invisible Ink, maybe, or definitely Jalopy, I feel like the actions in the game I'm being made to do make me feel like I'm in a control station in Invisible Ink, for instance, or they make me feel like I'm driving a broken down old car on a road trip in Jalopy. And what I mean by this is that, to give you a little example from the game, and we won't see it today because I'm going to stop once I reach Dresden, I think, but I'm going to do more videos, I think, about this game because I'm really enjoying it. I reached a border checkpoint yesterday, and your uncle tells you that he's got the papers ready, so you're ready to cross the border between countries. It's very simple. I drove up to the checkpoint, and I picked up first I had to pick up my passports from the glove box to my right, so that was something. And I couldn't give them to the guard at the checkpoint. And I was like, why is this a bug? Because the game's in early alpha and there are some bugs, and I thought maybe this was another bug. But no, it was because I hadn't rolled my window down, so I couldn't get the passports through the window and give them to him. And I had to click on this little thing here so I could wind down the window and actually pass the passports through the glass to him. And that is pointless. That is a pointless interaction. I mean, it's not completely pointless. Obviously, it's been made into part of the system here, but there's no reason why that is necessary, right? Now we've got a turn off here that we can take, but I'm not going to take it. Yeah, that seems good. I just want to point out here that he's mentioning banned goods. One of the ways in which you can make money in the game is smuggling contraband across the border. So the thing with rolling down the window is that there's no need for you to roll down the window in the game. It could just let you, put the passports through the window maybe, or it was just like an automated process or something. But the reason why they've done it is because it feels nice to click on the little windy down lever and see the window wind down in front of you. And I can't emphasize how important that is, and this game is packed with stuff like that. We must have missed the turning for the fuel for the petrol station, but refueling the car in this game is hilariously involved. You need to, pop open the bonnet, and you need to open the cap, and you've got to make sure you keep track of how many litres you're putting in, and you've got to mix it with some oil afterwards, and then you've got to get your wallet out of the glove box and go into the petrol station and pay the woman, and maybe buy some cigarettes if you want to. And in most games, like, a description of actions like that I'd be like complaining about it, right? I'd be complaining about how annoying this game was, and how I didn't want to have to do all those things. But in this game, it's totally not like that. In this game, that's the point. Like, I think that's at least 50% of the point of this game is doing pointless stuff like that. Sorry, I took a wrong turning here because I'm trying to find the motel in this town. I actually reached Dresden way quicker than I expected to, so we might actually get to see the border crossing. I might extend the video a little bit. So because the town layouts are procedurally generated, you really get that feeling of you've turned up in a town that you don't know, and you don't have a map, and the motel is somewhere, but you really have no idea where. So let's just keep a little eye out for it. got a bad feeling that actually was it that I tried to get into just a minute ago. This is the border here, but we're not going to try crossing until tomorrow. That's a shop for getting upgrades to your car. Where the hell is the motel? I think it bloody was that place that I drove past. I'm such an idiot. I should point out that I can't drive in real life. So the first time I played Jalopy, what it bloody was as well. The first time I played Jalopy, I took a wrong turning right at the start just after the tutorial, and I ended up on a stretch of road in the oncoming lane where there was no opportunity to turn around for at least 5 minutes. Like, every time I bumped into something, my uncle was like, "Better be careful!" And there's nothing I could do. You know, this barrage of AI-controlled cars careening down towards me. You can see that there's a little bit of smoke coming out from our engine, so what I'm going to do is, actually, I just want to show you... oh, okay, I don't know what's going on there. As I said, it's in early alpha, but all of its bugs are... The bugs that I've encountered are kind of charming rather than problematic. Okay, we're running a little bit low on fuel, and these things could do with some maintenance. What I'm just going to pop into this shop next door because I'm wondering whether I can get fuel here. And it looks like I can. So what I'm going to do is... Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to actually drive back into there and top us up on fuel. Because last time I played this was what undid me, was running out of fuel. Right. Close the passenger side door. Don't want to have another incident like that again. Also what happened when I did the tutorial was I turned over to click on my uncle because I thought I could talk to him by doing that, and instead I clicked through him and opened up the passenger side door while travelling at 90 kilometers an hour on the Autobahn, which has no adverse effect, but was terrifying temporarily. Anyway, yeah, so what I wanted to say was that a game like this has really made me appreciate, like, little details. This is a game about little details. Yeah, thanks, Uncle. I know. Just need to grab my wallet before I leave, and also pop the bonnet. And it kind of makes me want to put more little details in my game. Is this actually going to stretch? Because it is not going to stretch, is it? For God's sake. This is why I don't drive. There we go. I know. So yeah, I ran out of fuel yesterday, and I ran out of fuel just after the border, so there was no way to go. Are you kidding me right now? Okay, all right. So there was no way to just kind of back up. I couldn't go back past the border to Dresden to get more fuel. So I was like, well, what am I going to do? So the only thing I could think of was to get out of my car and walk ahead on the road, just hoping I would eventually come to a petrol station, which I did 12 hours later in the dark when all I could hear were like wolves howling in the distance, and then I realised I didn't have anything to put the fuel in, so that was my first run at the game that came to an end, sadly. Okay, let's fill this up. Excellent. So we are topped up and ready to go for tomorrow. While we're here, I'm just going to use the toolkit to tighten up some of these. 1, 2, 3. Now that's used up the toolkit, so what I'm wondering is whether I can get another one. It's not a big deal if I can't, because hopefully I should be able to get one tomorrow. Actually, this shop matches that one. Does it? No, it doesn't. Oh well. I'm pretty sure that the petrol stations do, so I'm going to try it. So we pay just by clicking our wallet on the till, just like in real life. And that was 8 marks, so it's about 1 mark per litre of fuel, which is, you know, we have 100 right now, which seems like a lot, but in reality it's Probably not for like a full-size trip, but for the kind of length of trips that I've been going on, I keep misclicking that when I try and get out of the car. The kind of length of trips that I managed to get so far without crashing or running out of fuel means that means that 100 marks is more than enough. In the full game you can kind of buy stuff in some areas and sell them in others, including stuff that's illegal. They search you at checkpoints. You can also scavenge for things as well, I think. People talk about finding stuff on the road, which is pretty cool. There we go. So after that little jaunt in the mechanics yard, I think I might actually save the border crossing for the next episode. Let's just close the door here. We've got the wallet. I think everything else is good. And it is late. Hey there. I will be staying with you tonight. 20. Okay. Could have just slept in the car, but apparently not. So we've got room 1B. The first time I stayed in a hotel, they gave me room 1A, and I thought, oh, they just give you the same room every time, but they don't, which is great. Again, really small details, but they didn't need to do that, but they did it anyway. They just made it so that sometimes you get an upstairs room, and sometimes you get a good view from your window, and sometimes you don't. I love stuff like this. So, we're going to go to sleep now. I'm going to call the video there, in fact, but I'm definitely going to do more and show you more of the trip from Berlin, and talk a little bit more about why I love this game so much, and hopefully see more terrible things that can happen to the car. Alright, night-night, Uncle, and night-night, everyone. See you next time.